Roger Hilton, who's a defense fellow at Globsec. It's a global think tank. It's based in Slovakia. It researches security and economic policy. Roger joins us from Vienna. Roger, simple question, possibly difficult answer. Is Europe safer or less safe now?
Well, merhaba, and thank you for having me. I think the short answer is absolutely Europe is safer, but that's not to say that it's without some immediate risks. Obviously, it's NATO's birthday today, 74 years, and I think Finland joining NATO both sends a signal both to President Putin and his failed statecraft and offers up NATO a very versatile member, which has a lot of flexibility in a lot of different realms.
How is it flexible? How is it versatile? What does Finland offer the alliance?
Well, I think to begin with, it has a huge amount of, strategic geography. As you said, it's got an extremely long border, and given the current security situation, you can think that with its positioning up in the Arctic and in the Baltic, there's going to be offer a lot of resources for NATO moving forward on that issue. Another issue that I really pick up on, which I think is undervalued, is Finland's emergency response and crisis management. It's very well known as sort of the country of preppers, and I think as we saw during COVID and other situations moving forward, that its know-how and resiliency when it comes to both on the ground and out is very versatile. Another area with NATO launching its Diana Accelerator, it's got a very innovative technology culture, which will bring a lot to the table. And then the other two issues is it's a very credible voice when it comes to climate security. And of course, NATO being a military alliance, it's got a very modern and capable alliance. So I think sort of when taken together, it's a pretty versatile new member for NATO.
But doesn't a growing membership just make it more difficult to reach consensus just by sheer numbers? It's not a homogenous entity, NATO. A really good example is Hungary, as a member of the alliance, is still not allowing weapons to be delivered to Ukraine through its territory. So now 31 means possibly another dissenting voice.
I mean, it's definitely a point taken about sort of the issue where when there's more people at the party, it's more difficult to come to a final conclusion. But I think given sort of Finland's longstanding neutrality and how it's played a role in major diplomatic summits moving forward, I don't necessarily see it as an obstacle about reaching consensus. And I think given that Sweden is still waiting for its final ascension, hopefully at the Vilnius summit, I still think Finland will play a huge role in terms of helping move the conversations forward in a positive manner.
Roger, from the Russian point of view, so it was 1999, Hungary, Poland and the Czech Republic joined NATO. And then we had Bulgaria, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, Romania, Slovakia and Slovenia joining in 2004, Albania and Croatia 2009, Montenegro 2017, North Macedonia in 2020. I mean, surely the Russians have reason to be concerned, especially when you go back in history and those very credible reports that Mikhail Gorbachev, the last leader of the Soviet Union, had assurances from the West and from Europe that NATO would not expand eastwards.
Well, I mean, I take a somewhat issue with the way you phrase the question. I mean, to begin with, NATO is a defensive military alliance. And I think if we're going to sort of put it in context a little bit of it, none of the countries who have previously joined NATO, as you said, from the Baltic or other parts like Poland, none of those countries have ever invaded Russia, where the other countries that you mentioned have already been victimized. So I think there's good reason for them wanting to join. Across all, at every start, NATO makes its exercises public. It doesn't seek out conflict or war, and more than ever now is not just a political military alliance, but is looking to plan for other issues, whether it's biosecurity or climate change. So I don't necessarily think in any way that NATO represents a pressing or sort of an imminent threat in one way or another to Russia's territorial integrity.
Roger, thank you so much for the analysis. Roger Hilton from Globsec.